Welcome to The Survivor's Voice, where resilience meets hope. I'm your host, Angie Sador. I'm sitting here with our producer and editor, Christina Elder.
Thank you so much, Angie. It's definitely a different experience being on this side of the room.
Yes.
But I am really grateful for the opportunity to talk to our listeners a little bit. I just want to say really quick that this show has really changed me hearing these stories. It's a real reminder of the realities of this world, the horrifics of the world, but also that healing is not just about surviving. Healing is about being heard, being validated, being understood by people.
Yeah. And that's what The Survivor's Voice is all about.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And I love that we've been able to create a space for our guests where they can be heard and validated and understood.
Yes.
I'm actually really excited and very humbled by the feedback we've gotten from our guests actually about how great of an experience they've had.
And we've had such just a variety and a range of guests on our show. I mean, we have gone through trafficking and medical trauma, church trauma, war. I mean, just so many different things. And maybe some of our listeners are thinking about telling their story.
That would be so awesome. If that's the case, I would like our audience to know we would be honored and privileged to be able to be the platform for them if they so chose to tell their story.
Yes.
We also believe that every single story can help someone else.
Yes.
That's our whole purpose here. Our listeners should know that you don't need to be a speaker. You don't even necessarily need to be past your trauma. You just have to show up. So if listening to this is maybe making your heart beat a little faster, maybe that's a sign that you need to contact us, that maybe you can help somebody else with your story.
If you feel led to speak, we're ready to listen. So reach out to us at booking@thesurvivorsvoice.net. Your story matters here because your voice is your power. Special thank you to Bowman Carter for creating the original music for this podcast. You can find Bowman's music by searching for Bowman Carter on Spotify and on YouTube. We've attached his links in our description of today's episode. Please show him love and support. Today on The Survivor's Voice.
When you're young and a child, you don't realize I have really vivid nightmares. This door opened in my mind.
The content shared on the Survivor's Voice podcast is intended to be informative and inspirational. We are not licensed therapists, counselors, or medical professionals. The views expressed are based on personal experiences and should not be considered professional advice. If you are in need of mental health support, please consult a licensed professional. Before we begin, this episode may contain discussions of trauma, abuse, or other sensitive topics. Listener discretion is advised. We don't recommend playing this show with young children present, and we encourage you to prioritize your well-being. Welcome to The Survivor's Voice. I'm your host, Angie Sador, and I'm so excited about having this guest on our show today. I met her actually fairly recently. She's in a networking group with me, and she shared just a few things with me about her past. And wow, talk about a well-rounded person. She has so much depth to her and lots of connections in the community. And I'm just really excited that she's on our show today. So help me welcome Miss Susan. Thank you, Susan, for being on our show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so happy. So I would like to first let our audience get to know you a little bit. So share with us who you are, what do you do, just kind of the basics of your life right now.
Sure. So I am from this area originally, so
Awesome.
from the local community.
Yes.
And I'm married and I have 4 grown children and 6 grandchildren.
Awesome.
Career-wise, I am currently leaving corporate America and starting on my adventure with my youngest son. We had a little startup that we started a couple years ago.
Awesome.
So I'm putting all of my effort and energy into that. And my husband and I kind of, got inspired to start a property development up behind Liberty Lake, which will be a place for people to come and have those life moments where they can, connect to themselves and to nature and to God. And so that's all of a sudden I've become a property developer and a marketer and all of those things, a land developer, all those things that I didn't see coming.
You
but
never know where
yeah.
life is going to take you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I always get, I hear a lot from people that are like, it's too late for me. I'm too old or whatever. And it's like, no, actually, it's never too late. There's always something more.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, I'm going to be 60 in a couple months, so it's never too late.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
you're getting into your prime.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I tell myself that a lot.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
otherwise it gets a bit overwhelming.
No.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about your upbringing. Like, you were raised here. Did you come from a big family? Do you have a lot of siblings?
Yeah. I'm middle of 3 girls.
Okay.
So I have an older sister, year and a half older, and a younger sister who's 6 years younger. And yeah, I was born at Sacred Heart, so very local.
Yeah.
And a 12-year graduate of one of the school districts here. So I have a lot of history. Like, we spent a few years, I think I was 3 when we moved off of South Hill area.
Okay.
And my parents bought property out between Hauser Lake and Rapture.
Oh.
And that's where I grew up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
So spent my summers at Hauser Lake swimming a lot and riding my bike 7 miles back into Rapture to play softball. So
Love that.
yeah.
Yeah. Good. Sounds like a good childhood.
Yeah. We were poor.
Yeah.
And with that comes its own struggles. And it's, one of those things, when you're young and a child, you don't realize really that side of what you're in. You recognize and understand kind of the consequences of poverty and what that, the things that creates in a family. I think that poverty is actually the root of a lot of our problems within our society at a family level.
Yeah.
Because of the stress that it causes. And, when people are under stress, they behave probably how they wouldn't if they didn't have that pressure.
Gosh, so true.
Yeah. And it's funny, I've reconnected with some of my classmates online as we've, all become adults and had our own lives, is just the amount of poverty that we had in our little age group.
Yeah.
And the things that were happening behind closed doors was more common, sadly, more common than I think I realized. I knew some of my friends were going through things, but we were pretty open about it now. Like, we talk to each other, and it's really, it hits your heart really hard to hear the things that we were all going through quietly behind closed doors.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Do you care to elaborate at all?
Well, there was, a lot of my old classmates have shared just the amount of physical abuse, sexual abuse, emotional abuse that was going on. And again, I attribute a lot of it to the amount of poverty that we had in our area. Again, I've shared my age, so, you can put it together. This was, in the 70s and 80s. Yeah.
Yeah. And this area wasn't was it a wealthy area back then?
No.
Not at all.
No, we were just a little blip on the map.
Yeah.
It has, we don't recognize it now for what it was back then.
Yeah.
It's grown so much. And, even of that, just, growth doesn't always mean a healthy community.
True.
It takes people who really care to be involved in a community to create a culture where, you solve the root problems. And, I think this is a good area. I think we do still have a lot of, as you and I have spoken about, there's a lot of issues in our area with being a high human trafficking and sexual abuse and those types of things that go on because of our where we are geographically to Canada and, Seattle and, the I-90 and I-5 corridors.
Yes.
So that in and of itself creates an environment that we have to be aware of.
For sure.
But just as a community, I think that we were quite small. We were known for, probably things we weren't proud of back then.
Like the brothels and stuff?
Yeah. Funny enough, I remember, because, they didn't close the ones over in Kellogg until I was like in high school.
Oh my goodness.
So the
wow.
I know, right? The high school, some of our high school guys would brag about going over there on the weekend, and
Oh my.
all of us girls were like, ew.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
kidding.
Yeah. But they thought that was fun to go over to Kellogg and visit the brothels.
I hadn't even thought about that. I didn't realize they were still
Yeah.
running that late.
Yeah, they didn't close them until, I think early 80s.
My gosh.
Yeah.
So let's get into your story. I have no idea what you're going to tell me.
Mm.
So I'm just going to let you start. And
I'm writing a book. And I think what I would like to share is that no matter how hard and dark things get, I hope that through my story, other women who might be facing similar challenges in their life know that there's hope. There's
Yes.
hope that you come through it. There's hope that you can have a beautiful life and that you can heal from that and be an inspiration to others. And so, look, I'm not here today or in my book to disparage or hurt people. I think that, again, we go through life and sometimes we behave and do things to others that in normal circumstances we wouldn't, but those things happen.
Hmm.
So, I have, I have been a victim or survivor, or however you want to frame it, of being molested and raped in my life, and been a victim of husband abuse, and had children along the way, and tried to protect my children as best that I could in those circumstances. None of my children are a result of those assaults. I just want to clarify that. But yeah, I look back. I mean, I've been successful in my careers. I like to think that I have been a good mom to my children and a great nana to my grandkids. I have been married to my current husband for almost 23 years, and he has been such a blessing in my life.
And I'm assuming that he was not the abuser.
No. And again, I'm not here to, disparage anybody. I think being young and being married has stressors of their own.
Yeah.
Not to make excuses for abuse at all. But I also believe that, it's not my place to judge and be jury. That's Heavenly Father's place.
Yeah.
Because He knows what has gone on in all of our lives and what's brought us to the point where we make decisions. And so what I want to do is to take those life experiences and not hurt other people by sharing those experiences, but to turn them into opportunities to just give hope to other women.
Yeah.
That, we can just have these beautiful lives if we, put our faith in ourselves and in Heavenly Father to guide us where we need to go, and to bring people into our lives that can, kind of be those rocks for us. So I would say, I am sitting here as a 59-and-a-half-year-old woman with these life experiences that have molded me into a woman with a lot of resiliency. And I mentor young women to say, you can do it. It's going to be okay. And you're not alone.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times when you're in those situations, you do feel alone.
Yep.
You don't know really where to go for the right help. And if it wasn't for women like in my church or women at work, where I, in my different careers that have kind of quietly watched me from the side and come up and just given me encouragement. I am a firm believer in a really good trauma therapist.
Oh, yes.
Yep. There are a lot of therapists out there now that I don't have confidence in. I think you have to really listen to yourself, because there's therapists out there that I think are leading people in the wrong direction.
Agreed.
But I think a really good trauma therapist, I think there are two things we should get when we're born. We should get a social security card and a therapist. We should get a person.
No kidding.
That's what we should have. Even if you have the most blessed life,
True.
it's going to be hard.
True.
Yeah. And I feel very blessed. Look, for the things I've been through, I do not wallow at all, because there are women and men, right? Not just women, but there are, our brothers and sisters out there of all ages that are going through so much more horrific things than I've been through. And so I try to keep that perspective that, yes, I've had things happen to me. They sucked. I have a bubble bath and a cry and pull myself up and keep going.
Yeah.
Which in and of itself, I have to say, is if I could give any advice, and I do, to younger women. I actually, just yesterday, there's a couple ladies in a mentoring group that I'm in, and I said to them, don't do what I did. Don't go, oh, I was raped. That was hard. Have a big cry, and then push it down and just go on, because I didn't have the time. I had children to look after. I had things to do, and I just moved on. I should correct that. I was raped before I had children, but I had other things that happened to me traumatically after I was a mom.
Okay. Would that happen before you were married the first time?
So I was molested at 3.
Do you remember it?
It was funny, like I was so young that all I remember was I had nightmares growing up. I had really vivid nightmares of just bits and pieces of it.
Yeah.
But I didn't put it together. And then I also had other issues. When you are molested at such a young age, it causes other physical issues that I dealt with growing up. And I never really understood. And I think if the adults in my life maybe had a bit more education about what to watch for or look for.
Can you elaborate on that? So if somebody's watching, like, they can have some education on what to look for?
Yeah, I would say if you're a mom or dad out there, watch for changes in personality. Watch for behaviors where your child seems more sexualized, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like just these feelings of, like your child being more, I'm not sure what the right word is, Angie,
I think sexual would be.
Yeah.
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 I had a friend growing up that her little girl, when she would dance, it was like a stripper. And I mean, she was just a little baby girl. We're like, that's
not normal.
Something ain't right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think personality trait, I think having a child who's showing aggression, a child who, is, showing withdrawal, not wanting to go to school, not wanting to be around a certain person, those are really big flags.
Absolutely.
And because when you're so young, you don't know how to articulate what's happened to you.
Right.
Because you don't even understand it.
No.
But you do know that it's not safe.
Yeah.
And so there's either bullying or sexual abuse or something. There's something going on.
Yep.
And also, the best advice I can give is to listen to yourself. As a parent, And so, yeah, I would say that that just really affected me as a child.
Yeah.
But, I was happy. School was my safe place. I love sports. I got into sports quite young. I was not a healthy eater. That's probably another probably a sign to watch out for.
Yes.
I was, I had almost like an eating disorder. I was hiding my food when I was quite young. Yeah. So I would say, don't stuff it, deal with it.
Yeah.
So back to the why I think we should have a person.
Yeah.
I think it's great to have somebody that's not a member of your family. It's not a parent. It's not a sibling. It's not an auntie or an uncle. And it's not your spouse. Just somebody that can help you figure it out. It wasn't until I was in my 20s and going through my first divorce that here in Idaho, way back in the day, you had to mandatory go through counseling.
Wow.
To get a divorce.
Wow.
Yeah. Which is crazy because it only took 31 days to get a divorce back then. I'm not sure what it is now, but they made you have some therapy, which was great.
Yes.
Yeah. And the therapist actually said, do you want to talk about the sexual abuse? And I was like, what are you talking about? And he said, you show all the signs of someone who was sexually abused as a child.
Wow.
Yeah. And so I won't go into the details because, again, I don't want to hurt anybody.
Yeah.
But, that comment led to questions
Yes.
to other people in my life. And then it came out that I had someone around me who had gone through something similar, which then led to an understanding of when it happened and who had been the perpetrator.
Mm.
And then it was like this door opened in my mind,
Oh my gosh.
and all these memories that were tucked away,
Yes.
because a 3-year-old doesn't know how to process that.
Yeah.
And so it all came. It was literally like I had this dream of a puzzle, and all these pieces just dropping in, and then it all made sense. So
Wow.
all the nightmares and the things that I had dealt with, it was like an answer.
Yeah. Was that difficult for you? Or did it make you feel better?
I think that in a way it made me feel better because the things that I had been feeling and experiencing never really made sense to me.
Mm.
They were just fragments.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it wasn't a fragment anymore. It was a story.
Mm.
Mm.
Yeah. It's good to have an answer.
Yeah.
Yeah. A root.
Yeah. Well, because then your mind can process it,
Yeah.
and your emotions can process it, and it doesn't control you
Yeah.
from the dark shadows. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
I'm really glad you said that, because there have been times where, our bodies, they protect itself. And so
Mm.
I've always been worried that something for me is going to trigger
Mm-hmm.
something in my brain, and things are going to come to the surface. And I'm like, what if that really screws me up?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I like that you say it actually can help you process it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, someone had told me one time that our brains, because our brains instinctively are about protecting us,
Mm-hmm.
and so it only allows us to remember things, and I mean, not always, right? But to
For the
basically
most part. Yeah.
to help us tuck things away until we're ready, which is why a lot of people, not just women, but in our 30s and 40s is when a lot of trauma actually comes back.
Mm.
And that's why you hear people have a midlife crisis,
Oh.
that it's because things are coming back that they hadn't processed, and all of a sudden there's these things, and sometimes, again, we might not even understand it.
Yeah.
It's just this wave of emotion that we have to deal with. And I don't know, that's what they said.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, it makes sense, but
It does. Definitely. When you were going through all of the things, did you think that you were ever going to have a good life? Did you ever feel like with your ex-husband, did you think you were going to get out?
it was hard. It was funny, somebody asked me one time, when you were in high school, what did you plan on being?
Mm.
And I thought to myself, because they were going around the room and people were answering, and for me it was just about surviving.
Yeah.
It was really, I was in survival mode from such a young age that I don't know that I really thought about what I was going to be when I grew up.
Mm.
And then I got married when I was 19, not because I was pregnant. My first rape was in college. I'd gone off to college. I was a freshman, he was a senior. And that really was rough. And then I came home and I went to California and was assaulted again.
Oh my God.
So twice in 1 year. And so that was really tough. So I came home and then this young guy from this area wanted to get married. And I just felt like I needed to get away.
Yeah.
And so I said yes. And then all these voice in my head, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
I was young. I just come through those two traumas.
Yeah.
They should give you a warning label. You know, when you have surgery or you take medication, it says, do not make any life serious decisions,
For real.
right?
Yes.
We should teach our each other and our youth, if you've had a trauma, do not make any big life decisions
Agreed.
because it is going to end poorly.
Yep.
And then a lot of people get hurt along the way.
Mm.
And if I have any big real regret in my life, it's that, you know, I carry this guilt that I hurt my children along the way because they went through those divorces and those life changes with me.
Yeah.
And, you know, they don't hold it against me. My children are lovely.
Yeah.
I have amazing children, all 4 of them. But, you know, they got hurt, and there's no way they couldn't have gotten hurt. And I feel bad. I feel really bad for that. Yeah. So I shouldn't have been making a life decision at that point in my life.
Yeah. But you don't know what you don't know.
No.
Yeah.
No. You're young, you know, life's really knocked you around, and you just want to go away and have it be better.
Yes.
And so I got married, and again, I'm not here to disparage anyone. I think that, you know, none of us are blameless. I'm not going to sit here and say that I am the easiest person probably to be married to. You know, I'm a pretty headstrong, especially back then, you know, I'm a pretty headstrong person. But nobody deserves to be abused.
No.
I don't think there's ever an excuse for hitting somebody or verbally hitting somebody.
Yes.
And so I take responsibility for, you know, my part in that relationship. But it was rough. It was, you know, it wasn't easy. And so
So a lot of times when I talk to those that are in a domestic violence situation, they love this man. Like,
no,
you didn't feel that way?
no. So when we were, you know, engaged
Yeah.
for the short period that we were, I actually tried to call it off because my voice was saying, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it.
Yeah.
And he got really emotional, and we were at a park and sitting on a park bench, and he got really sad. He was crying, and he stood up and he went to, and I'm not quite, and this was, I suppose, in retrospect, a flag, but he lifted the bench, and I was sitting on the other side of it, and one of the bench seats came off, and it came up and it struck him across the eyebrow. And so here he was standing there crying with
God.
blood running down his face. And I felt like a really horrible person. I thought to myself, he obviously loves me, or he wouldn't be reacting this way. And who am I to hurt him? And so I said yes, and I went through with the marriage. And it was 4 years and 2 children. And it took my therapist. I went in to see her, and I had bruises on my chest wall, and she obviously saw one kind of, you know, at the top of my blouse, and she asked me to open my blouse, and she started to cry. And this is, you know, 4 years into the marriage. And she said to me, she started crying. She said, you have to leave. He's going to kill you. And it was that moment that I realized just that it was, I really needed to make the move. And it wasn't that I hadn't tried before, but I just kept going back.
Yeah.
I kept going back for various reasons, you know. People made me feel bad because I was this horrible person, you know, and, you know, he would call and cry and tell me he was sorry. And I had 2 children, you know, like
Yeah.
I just, and, you know, all these things that draw you back into it.
Sure.
So, yeah, so I finally did make the break and got out, and yeah.
Was it hard?
It was hard. You know, at that stage I was 23, going 24.
Did you have any support? Like a support system?
Yeah. I was in Southern California, so I didn't have family support.
Okay.
But I had my, you know, my church. I had my faith. I had, you know, Heavenly Father on my side.
Yeah.
My employers, you know, I had everyone around me was very supportive. And in the end, look, you know, my first husband, you know, has remarried and had a beautiful life, and I'm happy for him. And I don't think that I mean, well, I hope that that behavior didn't, follow him, into his second marriage. My second marriage, I didn't have physical abuse, but a lot of emotional abuse, and infidelity. And that was really traumatic. But I swore I was never going to get married again. And bless my husband's heart, when he asked me to marry him, I'm like, you seem like a really great guy. You make me laugh and you make me feel pretty, but I suck at picking men. Everything else in my life has been great. I've had a great career. I have 4 beautiful children, but I just really can't seem to do that one right. But in the end, both the first 2 times my voice was telling me not to do it, don't do it, don't do it. Both times I tried to call it off for various reasons. I didn't. It didn't end well. But this time I just felt like I'd found my best friend. And I said yes. And he has just been the most amazing. Yeah. It's kind of like I got a little chocolate lab puppy 3 years ago. I think on Sunday she'll be 3. And just the biggest blessing in my life. Yeah. So
I can relate.
Not to compare my husband to my dog, but
They kind of love you more, though.
it's just this unconditional,
Oh my God.
He's just such a blessing.
Yes.
And I just love him. Yeah. I guess as far as coming through it and what I can share is trust yourself.
Yeah.
Do I regret still saying yes when both times my voice was telling me not to? I have 4 beautiful children, and I hope that they know how much I love them and how much I'm sorry to them that we all got hurt along the way. But I hope that it's created, some amount of resiliency and love of life for the blessings that we do have.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just for women to know that it's okay, and if you can find the strength and the support to get out, it's like these doors open and blessings come down.
Yes.
And we're here for you. We are here to help you through that process.
Yeah.
You're not alone.
Yeah.
We see so much going on in our world now.
Yeah.
I am adamantly against pornography in our society and the damage that it's doing.
Yes.
If I can just be so blunt.
Yes.
That, it is almost dehumanizing people.
Yeah.
And we are losing this respect for who we are as, sons and daughters of God, and fellow brothers and sisters in this life, and what it's causing. I just think that we as a society really need to take a step back and look at, both from a legislative perspective and just from a moral perspective.
Yeah.
What are we actually allowing to happen in our society?
Yep.
I mean, look, we have outlawed things that we know cause harm in our society.
Yeah.
Here's a perfect example. Vaping came.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Vaping came into our society.
Yes.
I was living in New Zealand at the time, and vaping came into New Zealand, and guess what? Within a few months of it coming in, they're like, this is bad. Part of it's because it's a socialized healthcare system, and they don't want things that are going to, openly, easily cause harm because they have to pay for it.
Sure.
And so that's it. Vaping's out.
Yeah.
If we can look at the damage that vaping's doing and outlaw it, we can't do that for something like pornography.
Right.
That causes human trafficking.
Yep.
And causes sexual abuse, rapes.
Well, a lot of people
Right?
don't even realize that girl that you're watching, there are traffickers in the room with them.
Yeah.
Watching them.
Yeah.
Like they're not there on their own free will.
Yep.
And so, yeah, it's definitely contributing to that. And don't even get me started on what people can upload to Pornhub these days. Little kids being raped, and it's okay. I don't understand how there's no there's no limits. There's nobody cares. I just don't understand that.
I think that people care. I just don't know that we're organized enough. I think that what happens is we fragment too much. Like this group was over here doing this, and this group's over here doing that.
Yeah.
And I think what we need to do is stop that and become a united front.
No, that would be great.
And pool our efforts, pool our passion, pool our money, pool, our skill sets, and say, let's stop diluting and let's come together and find a way to say, we're not going to do this anymore.
Right.
And there is no acceptance for what we're doing to each other in this realm of human trafficking. And abuse in our lives. And again, I go back to, because I've been politically active, and one of my subcommittees was safety. And what we see going on, but it's scary. We have to do something.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yep. I just was wondering if you would give just some last final, like, kind of put it all together and just really encourage that woman that is maybe right now in a domestic violence situation, or maybe that little girl or a parent that might be, man, I'm recognizing some things in my kid that maybe something's going on. Like, can you just really speak to that and really encourage them and just give them some hope, just based on, where you are today and what you went through?
Yeah. Again, as a mom, we instinctively know, and to just not be afraid. I saw some signs in one of my own children, and I questioned it, and I was told by everybody around me that I was just a hovering hyperactive mom.
Oh my gosh.
And years later it came out that child things had happened to that child. And so I just say, follow your heart, follow your instinct.
Yes.
If you don't know how to handle it, there are people that you can ask. Reach out to reach out to a pastor or a bishop or someone, and sometimes it happens in churches, right? So
right.
That's not always the answer.
Yeah.
But there are people like yourself to reach out to. Heck, reach out to someone like myself who's, willing to share our stories.
Yeah.
Because we're here to help you. Like, we are here to give you some guidance, to help you connect to people who can.
Yeah.
Just don't feel like what your instinct and your voice is telling you. Don't shy away from that. That's the best advice I can give.
Yeah.
To a woman who is in a domestic violence situation, both emotional or physical or both, is to find a really good therapist. And there's therapy out there that's not expensive, that's available, because the one thing that you need is to understand how to make the step, and that it's going to be all right.
Yeah.
I was broke. I was broke. I couldn't even afford to buy my children the necessities. And I turned around through the grace of God and the support of loving friends, and I rebuilt my life. I became very successful. I was able to, build my life with my children, have a great career, have beautiful, have my kids have beautiful lives.
Yes.
And that was from the ashes of nothing.
Yeah.
I think what happens is that we focus too much on what we aren't going to have materially.
Right.
And not on what we are going to have spiritually, emotionally, right? Spiritually, emotionally.
Yes.
And that once that happens, all of this other stuff happens as a result.
So true.
So don't focus on that. Don't focus on the fact that I'm not going to have a home. I might not have a car. I'm going to be without all of these, the comforts of life.
Yeah.
Because those will come.
Yes.
And they will come back in spades.
Yep.
They really will. There's a woman from New Zealand who I'd gone back on holiday, and she spoke at our Rotary Club. And she came out of like mongrel mob, like Maori mob life. And she tells her story of breaking out of that and with her children and running, and, they hunt you down.
Yeah.
And she has an amazing story of, look at my life now. Like she public speaks and she has this beautiful life. We've done it.
Yes.
We've done it.
Yes.
I have gone on to have a beautifully successful life. But it's not about the material things, right? Success is not what you drive, what
Right.
you live in, what
No.
you wear.
Nope.
Success is loving, being loved and loving, and supporting the person to your left and the person to your right.
Yeah.
That is success.
Yeah.
And sure, we all need those creature comforts of life.
Right.
We do need to have a roof over our heads, food in our belly. Again, I go back to what I started with. I think a lot of what happens in our lives comes out of poverty. So I know it's scary. I've been there. I've been there a couple times in my life. But it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
And I just want to do my part in my little community, because change happens at a local level. Change happens here. Because if we can cure here, we can cure what's out here.
Yeah.
And so if I can do my part to help share my story, and to support you and what you're doing, we can heal our communities. We can stop what's happening right here in our community, and then we can help the next community do it, and the next one, and the next one, and eradicate poverty and abuse and violence, all these things that are happening from our country.
Yeah.
And, then maybe we're the country that sets the example for the rest of,
Ugh.
yeah.
Yeah. I would love that.
Yes.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate you coming on and telling your story.
Well, thank you for having me. And I really do hope that in some way it's will help somebody somewhere along the line.
It will.
Yeah.
I know it will.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for listening, watching the show. We are so grateful for all of our viewers. I feel like every day there are several people that just follow us on Instagram, new followers, and it just lights up my life because, we wouldn't be where we're at. We wouldn't have the show if we didn't have anybody that watched or listened. So I just want to say thank you to all of our listeners and all of our followers from the depths of my heart. Like Christina and I are so grateful for you. And if you feel like you have a story to tell, which honestly, there isn't a single person on this earth that doesn't have a story to tell. Because that's one thing that we are guaranteed in this life is that it's going to be hard and there's going to be things that we're going to have to overcome. So contact us. It doesn't matter where you're at in the world. We would love to be able to tell your story. We'd love to be able to have a conversation with you. And your story can unlock a prison for someone else. You don't even realize that. And it's powerful. So reach out to us at booking@thesurvivorsvoice.net. We would love, love, love to hear from you. And wherever you're listening or watching, if you would drop us a comment, we would really appreciate that. Give us a follow. If you're watching on YouTube, if you would subscribe to our channel and just hit that notification bell so that you're notified when every episode comes out, we would greatly appreciate that. And don't forget that your voice is your power. Safe Harbor is dedicated to helping survivors of trauma find healing and restoration through support, resources, and community. They provide hope for those affected by human trafficking. Visit safeharborforfreedom.com to learn more or support their mission today. Thank you so much, Safe Harbor, for supporting the survivor's voice. Next week on The Survivor's Voice.
I really was beginning to lose hope in my life. I didn't trust people. There are good ways to cope and there are bad ways to cope.
Thank you for listening to this story on The Survivor's Voice. I'm your host, Angie Sador, reminding you that every survivor's story matters. A heartfelt thank you to our incredible listeners for your support and to the survivor community for your courage and resilience. You are the heart of this show. Special thanks to our producer and editor, Christina Elder, to Bowman Carter for our beautiful song, and to Dan Wise with North Idaho Podcast Productions for bringing these powerful stories to life. Your dedication, talent, and most importantly, your hearts make the survivor's voice possible.